All Over the Road New Orleans is brought to you by CoinTrader Inc. Mind your money, and recorded in front of a live studio audience.
Saints fans seem to be the only ones that believe their team is a Super Bowl team.
Strong, all over the road, New Orleans.
Ah, yes. It's that time of year again. The frozen tundra. Football is back, and the National Football League is trying to get in your pockets. How? Multiple games, multiple networks, multiple fees. But let's face it, you're addicted, and you have to watch. Ah, yes, it's all over the podcast from beautiful Lakeview, New Orleans. It's me, the king of all podcasting, Victor Giorno with Ted Semper. Don't you love it?
That's pretty snazzy NFL Films music.
I love it. This is the original stuff.
That's why you're doing that, guy.
This is the original stuff, yeah.
Yeah, I get it.
John Facenda.
NFL Films.
The original voice.
He's not around anymore, is it?
I bet he's dead.
He's dead.
He's worm food.
He dead.
The original voice of NFL Films. On this very show, we're going to meet Dan Q again. He's our sports director. He hasn't been around in a while, Teddy, Dan Q.
Well, he comes around once a year, so now, I guess, so at this time of year.
Yes, we're going to talk a little sports with him. Maybe he'll have a poem for us, because, of course, he's an unbelievable poet.
That's true.
People have been asking. Cards and letters have been coming in about Dan.
Oh, yeah. Where's Dan?
Where's Dan Q? Where's Dan Q?
Gotta wait till football season, friends and fans and neighbors and listeners.
We're going to give you everything you need to know about the Saints before the final cut down. We're going to go position by position. You're going to check it out, guys. I know the guys have been clamoring for this. The Cards and Letters have been coming in. Do a football show about the Saints, so we're doing it. We're going to have Rich Maudie on. Now, former Saint. Now, Rich told me that what he was going to do. That was an abrupt ending.
That was.
Rich was telling me that, I'll be on, but he goes, I don't know nothing.
It's hard to believe you don't know nothing about the NFL.
I know.
For the Saints and Vikings.
Redskins.
Redskins, you're right. Yeah.
So, I told him, of course, this is the All Over the Road podcast. You don't need to know anything. You don't need to know anything.
You don't need to know.
Of course, but our main guest is Dan Q, and we're going to be back to talk about the Saints right after this. As All Over the Road, the podcast continues. Stick around. It's going to be a great show.
I don't know about you, and with this election going on, people are shooting presidents. China's going into Taiwan. You gotta ask yourself: Is this world going to hell, man? Ask it, huh? Is it? What do? You don't pay. You gonna panic? You gonna get anxiety? You're gonna call your doctor and get some antidepressants? What do? Well, it's real simple. You call the people that can help you. The people that can help you protect your money. They call it minding your money. CoinTrader Inc. They're the experts. They know everything. They tailor everything to your needs, and they are willing to help and make things work for you and your family and create a business relationship / friendship. Call them right now. 504-267-6004. If you've ever thought about buying gold, silver, platinum, palladium coins for you and your family and your family's future. It's CoinTrader Inc. Mind your money. Tell them the king of all podcasting sent you.
Go marching in, go marching in. Oh, when the Saints go marching in.
Okay, welcome back to the big show. It's the 2024 All Over the Road New Orleans preseason preview. Now, let me tell you something. There's preseason previews out there.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, before we get going, I want to just say this. The show is being dedicated to the late Ed Daniels, who passed away last week.
That's right. Yeah.
Ed Daniels was a good friend. I will say he's a gentleman. One of the guys on the line, our sports director, Dan Q, is with us. Hello, Dan. What's going on, baby?
How you guys doing today? So glad to be here.
Good to have you, Dan.
Of course, Dan and I had the privilege of being in a fantasy baseball draft with Dan. 30-something years, wasn't it, Dan?
You mean with Ed?
I mean with Ed.
Yeah.
Wasn't it, Dan? About 30-something years?
Yeah, Ed was in it for about 10 years.
Wow.
That's it.
Yeah.
I thought it was longer.
So you knew Dan.
Maybe longer.
I mean, Dan,
Maybe longer.
Vic and Dan knew Ed.
Of course.
Oh, okay. I never met Ed.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't think. I don't
No,
know.
Ed.
Oh yeah, real good guy. A real tragedy. Real nice guy.
Yeah, a very sudden death, a heart attack. Of course, Channel 26 did a great preview, a great tribute to him. It was
He was
45
covering the Saints in California, right?
Yeah, he was at a Saints practice in
A couple weeks ago, or not too long ago.
in
And
California.
he had a heart attack.
Had a heart attack, and then he came back home.
But then the nice thing was the Saints owner, what's her name?
Gail Benson.
Gail Benson, thank you. Didn't she fly him back? It was very expensive because of medical needs.
Yeah, it was a
Flew
private
him
plane.
back to New Orleans, and then he passed away like a week later.
Yeah, charter plane, and of course, Ed's kids, Ryan and his sister. Ryan was named after Ryan Sandberg.
Really?
Went to Ridgewood Prep. So right after 9/11, his daughter was up for homecoming queen, and I was the announcer that night, and
really?
brought on the court, and I sang "God Bless America."
You did?
Yes, white with foam.
So was that a Cubs fan?
No, he's a Cardinal fan, huh, Dan?
Huge Cardinal fan.
He named
If
his
you were
daughter
gonna-
after a Cub.
Yeah, but he named his kid after a Cub,
Yeah, that's awesome.
which is kind of weird, huh, Danny?
It's strange because he loved his Cardinals.
He loved the
did.
Cardinals.
But anyway, this show is dedicated to him, the late great Ed Daniels. God rest, may he rest in peace, and God bless his family. We're praying for you. All right, Dan. One of the things that I wanted to talk about now, I think I got this straight. All right, multiple networks, multiple fees. The NFL's in your pocket. They got you addicted. It's like crack cocaine, and they got you by the gazungas, if you know what I mean.
Ouch.
So I think I got this straight. All right. On Fox, the Sunday Fox, all right, the main crew is going to be Burkhardt and Tom Brady. What do you think of that, Dan?
Correct.
And of course, because Buck and Aikman moved to ESPN to do Monday Night Football.
That's right. Was that last season?
That was last season.
Or last season.
Thursday night, the games are on Prime, okay, with Al Michaels, who continues to just laugh at what he's doing, but he's the greatest.
Yeah.
And then they've got a game on Netflix. They got a game on Barstool Sports.
Once a week?
No, they're the cameo games, huh, Dan? Netflix, Barstool. Of course, the ticket is now on YouTube TV. If you want the tickets, $349 for the whole season.
Mm-hmm.
Jeez. I think the Netflix games are Christmas Day, right?
Yeah,
The Netflix games.
There's a playoff game on Peacock. Okay, so you need Prime, you need Peacock, you need. So where this thing is going, kids?
Yeah.
It's going to. I think what they ought to do is just put all the games up on Sunday, stream them. You want to watch the Bears and the Lions? It's $5. What do you think, Dan?
Well, it's you're going to have to pay for everything soon. So whatever you think is a good idea, Vic, is a good idea.
Well, but that makes sense though, because it is like I don't want Peacock all the time. I don't. It's probably only like $10 a month.
I don't know what it is.
But whatever it is.
But
we
Peacock
have it,
is
of course.
NBC, and I hate
Yeah.
NBC.
So if
I
you
won't
just
do it.
want a certain game, you pay your $5.
Agree with that.
You get that game.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So they're really kind of, and of course now there's multiple games in multiple countries. They got a Munich game this year in Munich. They got 2 games in London. I believe they got a game in
Brazil.
And Brazil, and there's one in Ireland, I believe. No,
Wow.
I think there's one in Ireland. So the NFL is, the one thing about Goodell is he's very good about getting in your pockets, and of course that isn't changing. So
I don't get what's the point of having these games in other countries. I never got that. Is it
Money.
It's money. Yeah, money. Follow the money.
No, really, seriously. This is how they make their money.
Yeah.
Because those people are so rabid about football that now they have a whole nother market. It's insane. They're just making money hand over fist. That's how the NBA can afford to pay these guys $50 million a year and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I mean, they'll never add like a team to the NFL from London or something, I don't think.
Well, they were talking about it.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, they talked about it at one time because Jacksonville was over there 3 times a year, and I don't see it working.
Yeah, Jacksonville was supposed to be like the team of Europe,
Okay.
Right.
But so anyway, the NFL is expanding, and the younger generation, they're used to streaming everything. They're used to paying for everything. They're used to, the younger generation, they don't have cable, they don't have satellite, they don't have YouTube TV. They stream everything, and
they wouldn't know what WDSU
Can I interrupt you?
Channel 6
Can I interrupt you for 1 second? Can I interrupt you, Vic, for 1 second? Working with a lot of young people, they don't pay for anything. They got it all figured out. Believe me. I'll never forget that big fight. And when I went into work the next day, they were all like, "Well, I got it in 5 minutes." And the other one was like, "God, it's gonna be 10 minutes." And they had it all free. People are paying hundreds. They don't pay.
Yeah.
No, they don't. They don't. All right. So now that we got the gist and everything down as far as the NFL is concerned, all right, now let's try to get into our New Orleans Saints.
What up, Saints Nation?
KK, New Orleans Savior. We yelling black and gold of the Super Bowl.
We'd like to wish our boys in black and gold a very successful and healthy season. This season is finally in full swing. All we can say is go, Saints, go. Stay safe, and let's win some ball. It's time to get into the New Orleans Saints, the 2024 Saints. Oh, okay. That's what I said, okay.
I'm going to cry.
Here we come to get ya.
You do know that after every score, they play that at the game, right?
Yeah.
Hey, just in general, I will say this about the Saints this year. I think they will be better than last year. I think they'll be competitive in their division. I think 8 games will win the division. There's just some bold predictions I'm making right now. Okay, I think the defense will be solid. All right, if the D-line holds up. That being said, let's go through the depth chart.
Let's go.
This is your 2024 All Over the Road Saints preview.
Brought to you by Coin Trader.
Mind your money,
Baby.
All right, we're here with Dan Q, our sports director. Dan is here, and Dan.
I love coin traders, by the way.
Good.
They love you, Dan. They love you. By the way, do you have a poem ready today?
Oh no, I don't.
You don't. Okay.
I don't. I could find one, but let's concentrate on football. And
let's do that.
Leave the shenanigans.
Let's do that. All right, let's talk about the quarterback room. All right, the quarterback room. The quarterback room, of course, is Derek Carr, Jake Haener. You've got Spencer Rattler and Taysom Hill. Now, I'm going to tell you a little interesting story. Okay, as you know, Dan, Josh Hill, the former Saints tight end, who is the owner of D1 Complex in Harahan, and he's also a scout for the New Orleans Saints. He got hired this year, and what he's doing is he scouts pros. He doesn't do college. What he does is he cruises their waiver wire. He watches film on all these preseason games. He talks about guys that they could possibly pick up where they have needs. Okay, so the other day I sent him a text. I say, hey, Josh, the Saints need another running back. Okay, because this guy Miller's and we'll get into running backs later. But this guy Miller's always hurt. Robinson is a question mark. Williams had a disappointing season. Kamara wants to get paid again. All right, and he's a little long in the tooth. So I said we need another running back, unless you want to take Taysom and put him in a 3-point stance in the backfield as a halfback. And what do I see the other night? Taysom Hill.
That's what he did.
Taysom Hill at running back, at fullback. And I've always said this, Dan, and I told you this. The Saints never knew how to use Taysom Hill. You need to use Taysom Hill like you use Reggie Bush. And like a Reggie Bush that can throw. All right? He's a Reggie Bush that can throw. Same speed.
Because the defense doesn't know. Was he going to throw?
No.
Is he going to run?
No. And so I think this guy Kubiak, who's Gary Kubiak's son, he's got 2 sons, Kyle,
the new offensive
coordinator, who came from the 49ers, worked under Shanahan. They're running that 49er offense, the West Coast offense, Bill Walsh going way back. I think he's going to know how to use people. All right. And then I think he's going to have Carr play within himself. So that's just a general thing.
So Josh Hill made a pass along your idea. Or they're thinking that way.
Well, either way, but it's kind of a coincidence. Don't you think?
Well, we'll see.
I told Josh I will work for a stipend. Call me. I'll work for a stipend.
Yeah.
Okay, so you got Derek Carr, Jake Haener, Spencer Rattler, and Taysom Hill. Now, Taysom isn't really he's in the quarterback room, but he's really not a quarterback. Dan, what do you think? Do you think, I mean, obviously Derek Carr's the guy you're paying. He's the guy he's going to start. Who do you think is going to get that backup job?
Well, I mean, neither of them look very good to me. But I think it'll probably be Haener just because he's a little older. They'll give it to him. I know the way the Saints think. You know, they don't like to rattle the cage. You know, they'll have him too, and then Rattler will still make the team. He'll be the 3rd string quarterback. But somebody's going to get hurt probably.
Yeah, they're going to keep 3. I think they're going to keep all 3 of them. Definitely.
Yeah, I think it'll be Carr, Hayner, Rattler. Even though I'm not a big Hayner fan.
I agree. Carr, Hayner, and Rattler. The thing about Hayner is that he's got some good qualities, but once again, he's another teeny tiny quarterback, and we size matters. Let's put it size matters. Let's put it.
Well, yes, it does. I think Rattler will figure it out. When these rookie quarterbacks come in, they are completely baffled by the speed that's in the NFL. So, once he gets to figuring out the speed of these cornerbacks and linebackers, I think Rattler's the guy for the number 2 spot myself.
Yeah, I like him for the future just to see how he develops and see what's going on. But I like all three of those. And the thing about Taysom Hill, is that he can really be on the depth chart at every position. So he could be the 4th quarterback. He could be the 4th running back. He could be the 3rd tight end. He could be the 1st tight end.
They need him at tight end.
Yeah.
I got news for you.
Well,
I'm looking at the tight end.
No, they do need him at tight end, and they'll be using him there. But I'm confident that Kubiak will know how to use him. Okay, so there we go. Now let's look at the running backs. I think this is interesting. You got Alvin Kamara, who's played very little in preseason, and he's going to be the workhorse.
It's going to be a mess.
And the offensive line's got its problems, so we'll talk about that, and that could be a problem. Then you got Jamal Williams, the guy that scored 20 touchdowns for the Lions year before last and scored, I think, one last year.
I think you're right.
Well, I'm gonna go none. That last one doesn't count. It's stupid.
And then you got Kendre Miller, who has been hurt, and then you got Jordan Mims. Okay, now one of those, and then of course you got Taysom Hill. So one of those guys is going to go. One of those guys has got to go. Now, Kendre Miller is a guy that was a high draft choice.
But they drafted him. They drafted him hurt.
They did.
So that's a typical Saints thing. Let's get some good value. Draft the guy hurt, and maybe he'll come through for us.
That's right, because
Kendre Miller was hurt when they drafted him, and he's continued to be hurt.
He was. He was a 3rd round pick. He was the 71st pick overall in 2023. Right. He had just finished. His team just finished playing the national championship game against Michigan.
But he didn't play. He was hurt.
That's what I mean. He did not play.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. It was a semifinal. It wasn't the championship. It was a semifinal. And so.
No, he played in the semifinal and got hurt in that game.
Oh, okay. All right.
And then did not play in the final.
Gotcha. Okay. And he's questionable right now.
Yeah, he's listed as questionable.
He's listed as questionable right now. I'm impressed with Mims.
Is he a rookie?
Yeah, and Dennis Allen has made some kind of negative comments about Miller not being able to get on the field. So even though he was a high draft pick, you might see him be the sacrificial lamb there.
So he is a rookie.
Good, anyway.
Right?
No, Jordan Mims is the rookie. He's 6 foot tall, 205 pounds out of Fresno State. Yeah. Went to the same state that college that Derek Carr went to.
And Hayner. And Hayner went there too.
And he was not drafted. He was invited to camp. Okay, so he's a free agent trying to make the team. Personally, I think he's going to make the team.
Yeah, I do too. He didn't look bad. That's for sure.
No, he looks good. He finishes off runs. He reminds a little bit of Pierre Thomas. Not quite as good, but possibly. But he's a young guy. He's really young. So,
so all 4 of these on the depth chart would make the team.
No, I think Miller's going to get cut.
Okay,
he's going to get cut.
I agree with you. I think from what Dennis Allen said about him needing to be on the field and stuff, and which is a little unrealistic. You drafted him hurt, but he's set up with him. And I think he's the one that's going to go. You're right.
Okay.
They'll keep Robinson.
Yeah. They'll probably keep Robinson as insurance or practice squad or something. Yeah, because you can only have 4. You can only have 3 on the active roster, and then Taysom's your 4th because he's going to be active every week. So one of them, maybe I think Robinson could be practice squad material, or Robinson's on the team and Mims is practice squad. One of the two.
Mims is practice squad. Yeah, that would probably make more sense.
Okay. All right, now let's talk about the wide receivers. All right.
Well, you know who that is.
You got Chris Olave, who is a freaking stud. No doubt about it. He's probably one of the top 10 receivers in the league. You got Rashid Shaheed, who is that speedster guy that ran back, I think, 1 or 2 kickoffs last year. I'm not sure, when they didn't even return kickoffs. So I'm interested to see him with a new kickoff rule. But he's questionable. He's kind of nicked up, but he's going to make the team. And then they picked up a Cedric Wilson, a free agent who was, I believe, where was Cedric Wilson? He was in.
Cedric Wilson was, oh boy, I forget.
Let's see. He's out of Boise State. He's been in the league, how many years?
I love their field.
Oh, he was at Dallas. He was at Dallas. He was a wide receiver at Dallas.
Right.
He was wide receiver, special teams, and he's a kick returner. He's a kick returner, too. So you got Olave and Rashid. They're definitely going to make the team. You got Cedric Wilson. He's definitely going to make the team. And then
you got A.T. Perry.
And you got A.T. Perry. He's going to make the team. All right. So here are the ones that are on the bubble. One of them's going to go. St. Brown, I can't even pronounce it. Quanamius St. Brown. He's the guy that was with the Lions and the Packers. You got this Kevin Austin Jr. You got Samson Nakoa, who's a big, huge tight end size wide receiver. Then you got Bob Means, who they drafted, or Bub Means, who they drafted.
Bob from Pitt.
Right. And Shaquan Davis. Okay. So
Shaquan. Yeah.
What do you think there, Dan? Who do you think's
well, Bub Means will make the team. They don't like to cut guys they just drafted. They just go, even though he was only a 5th round pick. So he'll make the team, of course. Olave, Perry. How many are we talking about?
Oh, and there's two others. There's Stanley Morgan Jr., the St. Aug graduate. He's going to get cut. He's not going to make the team. I wish he was the real Stanley Morgan, but he's not. That was his dad. And then I think that Shaquan Davis is going to get cut. All right. So Bub Means, Wilson.
So how many are we keeping? 5?
5. And one on the practice squad. So you got...
Bub Means, Olave, Perry, Shaheed.
You said Bub.
Cedric Wilson. That's
Cedric
5.
Wilson. And then I think this kid Austin's going to make the practice squad. Kevin Austin Jr.
Really? Yeah. The practice squad. Yeah.
Yeah. He's a Notre Dame guy. He was good at Notre Dame. He's a tough guy. He's a slot guy. He's kind of like Michael Thomas. We can catch balls in the middle of the field and take punishment. He's 6'2", 200 pounds from Notre Dame. He's a rookie. And I just think he's going to make the team or make the practice squad or something. I just don't think they're going to let him go. All right. And he's looked good in the preseason.
So you mentioned Michael Thomas. So he's gone.
He's gone. No one's hired him.
Michael Thomas is gone.
He's not even playing?
No.
He's not been signed by a team.
He's over there in Gabriel and Kenner, living in the gated community right here in Kenner. Yeah.
You think somebody will pick him up?
I was telling Dan, why don't they just call him? Although we really don't have room for him now, do we, Dan? I don't think so.
No.
There's a lot of bad blood.
I mean, who
there.
would you get? I mean, I wouldn't. I think Cedric Wilson is going to be an interesting project because I don't think that he was caught in a real mess in Dallas. I think he's going to. I don't know. I kind of like that. All right. Yeah. So now we're going to talk about the tight end room real quick, and then we're going to go to a break and we'll come back. Okay. So the tight end room is real simple. You got Taysom Hill, Juwan Johnson, who was hurt. Well, I guess they're just activating. He says
they activated him today.
Okay. So Juwan Johnson is back. He's the guy that had like 12 touchdowns the year before last. He was an all-pro, and then he got hurt last year. Okay. So you got him. You got, of course, Taysom Hill, who's the best player on the team, and Foster Moreau. Those are your 3 tight ends. Michael Jacobson is on the roster. He's
a very weak tight end room.
Yeah, I think it's a weak tight end room, but I think that
I kept saying they needed to draft a tight end, and they just won't draft one in the high round.
Well,
but that's just.
I was sitting there watching the draft, and that Georgia kid came up. I think we were going to pick him, and then we got, just like Patrick Mahomes, he got picked right before us. Who was the kid that went to Georgia? Bowers, yeah. That would have been great, but we missed him by one.
Well, they always have an excuse for why they miss on guys and why they take guys, like people like Traquan Smith who never worked out. I mean, there's just so many bad draft picks. Sorry.
Okay, so we're all in agreement. Johnson.
Didn't mean to bring so much negativity.
No, that's okay. That's what we got you here. All right, we got Johnson, Taysom, and Foster Moreau. There's your tight end room. Okay.
How often does Taysom Hill play tight end?
He's in a lot of sets, a lot of tight end sets.
Okay.
Yeah, and he blocks too. So he can block.
He can block.
Yeah.
And you got to have a guy a tight end that can block. And he can handle a one-on-one block against a D end. I mean, and he can do that. So Taysom Hill's the best player on the team.
He is.
Let's face it. I mean, he is the best football player on the team. All right, we got the offensive line, the defense. We're going to check it out here with Dan Q, our sports director. It's all the road, the podcast. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back with more of this good stuff.
Why are you laughing, Dan?
Sports director. I like it.
That's what he is. He's a sports director.
He is.
He's a sports director. All right, welcome back. We're going to talk about the Saints' offensive line, who I think we got some problems. And, of course, you can't have problems there.
Did you say problems?
I said problems.
Yeah, I have to totally agree with that.
Okay, the rookie, the Samoan, Fuanga, okay?
You're talking about fullback.
No.
Skip that.
Fullback. We got one fullback. Prentice.
There's only one guy listed.
Yeah, Prentice. It's his fullback. We're done. Yeah, it's
one fullback. Let's move on.
It's a one fullback room. It's a one fullback room is what it is. It's just him and the fullbacks coach. All right. So Talise Fuaga, he was our number one pick, the 14th pick overall out of Oregon State. Listen to this: 6'6", 324 pounds. He's 22 years old.
Good grief.
Vic, tell the audience how much you love Samoans.
I love Samoans. I love Samoans. They're great football players. Mm-hmm. He is a plug-in starter. And, the Saints are notorious for drafting guys high and not starting them. This year, I think we're going to have two legitimate starters on our picks. We're going to have this guy, McKinstry, Kool-Aid, and this guy. All right.
Fuaga, yeah.
So he's kind of nicked up right now, but he's going to be ready.
They have to start Fuaga. I mean, they have to. I mean, there's nobody else that's yeah, it's ridiculous.
No, but they got his backup is Landon Young and Jesse Davis and Justin Herron.
Yeah,
I mean he's got to play. He's going to play. All right, so he's a lock. Okay, and he's going to play left tackle. All right, of course the center is our All-Pro Eric McCoy, and there are no others. The depth chart is just him. And if he doesn't, Cesar Raru, who plays guard, he can play center. All right, so here's what you got. All right, you've got Fuaga, you got at left guard Patrick, you got center McCoy. You got right guard Weeze, and then you got Trevor Penning, which is the problem. Okay. Big pick last year. I think it was our number.
That's a bust.
Yeah, I mean, it's getting to be that way, but this guy, Udo, who's backing him up, isn't bad. Okay. Elisa Mika Udo. All right. He is, he was a 6th-round pick in 2019 by the Vikings, 6'6", 320 pounds. Yeah. And I think that he can play that position, although they haven't been getting him many reps. He got some reps this past week. But Trevor Penning has got to work out, no, Dan? He's got to.
He's got to figure this out somehow. I mean, you don't have to be an all-pro, but for goodness sake, you have to stop somebody.
You got to be serviceable.
Yeah.
Okay, so you usually keep 9 offensive linemen. Okay, so Fuaga's 1, Patrick's 2, McCoy's 3, Ruiz is 4. Penning, you got to keep him. You're not going to cut him. He's 5. All right, then you got Landon Young is 6. Nick Salvaderi, who they were very high on in camp.
Yeah.
And then Salvaderi, nice Italian boy, by the way, is been nicked up, but he's going to make the team. Okay, so that's 6. Oh, wait. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
How about Patrick? Did you say Patrick?
He's going to make the team. Udo is 8, and then I think it's a toss up between Hergel and Isram. Okay, but there's going to be 5 or 6 linemen, offensive linemen.
So, question from last year's offensive line, is Fuaga the only new one? That was the line from last year.
Yes,
other than Fuaga,
just Fuaga is the only.
He's a rookie.
He's a rookie. Yeah, he's the only new one. Patrick was on the. I think was Patrick on the team last year? Yeah, he was a backup, wasn't he? Lewis Patrick.
I do not remember.
Yeah, well, 8th season. But.
Yeah. He was on the team last year. But let me tell you something. The guys they got are big. They're really big guys.
Yeah.
But we'll have to see how that.
That's questionable.
But you got to have good feet. You know how that goes. You got to have good feet. Otherwise, you're worthless.
Yeah.
True.
As a lineman.
True. Okay, so that covers the offense. Okay, now let's go to the defense. The base defense is a 4-3. Okay, Dan, you know what that is. We'll educate that here. That means there's 4 defensive linemen and 3 linebackers.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Now, in some of these sets this year, okay, Dennis Allen has what's called they call it a Ferrari package. All right. So in the Ferrari package, it's an obvious 3rd down situations, 3rd and long, 3rd and 7, 3rd and 6 and longer. And what they'll do, they'll put Cameron Jordan and they'll put Granderson inside, and then they'll rush outside with Young and one other guy. And Brzee. They actually move Brzee out, okay, and they kind of switch Brzee and Cam. And let me tell you something. When they've ran that package in preseason, they get there. Okay, so I'm really, and then when you look at, okay, so at left defensive end you got Cameron Jordan, and you got Peyton Turner, and Trajan Jeffcoat, who is the ex-Cowboys son, Jeffcoat, who's nicked up. He's going to get cut. I want to talk about Peyton Turner here, Dan.
He Did you want to talk about him? You
I
want
want
me
to talk
about him?
Let me just tell you who he is, people. Peyton Turner is let's see. He was our first round pick, number 28 overall in 2021. So he's going into his fifth year, something like that.
Yeah.
And he has not been good. All right. So on the depth chart, they got Cameron Jordan and they got Peyton Turner backing him up. Let me just say this about Peyton Turner. The last preseason game, he had so many effort plays. Did you see, Dan? I don't know if you watched it.
I did.
He had 3 or 4 effort plays where he missed a guy, gets up, missed him again. The effort is there.
I know. He needs to do better.
He needs reps. He needs reps. They need to put him in the freaking game. All right.
Well, he's been hurt. He gets hurt, and he gets in the game, and then he just doesn't deliver. He has got to start delivering. Him and Foskey, those two guys, need to start delivering.
Well, here's the deal. Between Foskey and Peyton Turner, you got to cut bait somewhere. All right, one of them's got to go. One of them has to go, and it's going to.
Well, then it has to be Foskey.
It's got to be Foskey.
Not panned out.
No, and he's way down the depth chart. He's got it at right defensive end. You got Granderson, Chase Young, Foskey, and Lelos. I'd rather have Lelos out there than.
Oh yeah, Lelos is over Foskey. Yeah.
So Foskey's going to go. All right. So here's what you're going to end up with. You're going to end up with Cameron Jordan, Peyton Turner, Shepard in the middle, Breezy. I love Breezy. I know you don't. I love him. I love Breezy. Okay.
I like him, but he's another guy that's a lot of effort, and I'll give him that. He always tries to bring it, but sometimes just does not make plays. They need playmakers. You know. Well, here in the Chase Young will obviously be a playmaker.
Yeah, he's a playmaker, but I don't like him on. I don't know. He's got to be in a certain package. It's just the way. I mean, he takes plays off. He doesn't. He doesn't have the motor that Peyton has. I'm telling you, Peyton Turner's got a motor. Peyton Turner. All right. I'm telling you, you just got to stick with Peyton Turner. Don't give up on him. Okay, so you got Jordan, Turner, Shepard, Breezy. That's 4. Saunders, Christian Boyd's going to make the team. That's 6. Granderson, Chase Young is 8. All right. That's usually what they keep. One guy's going to be on the practice squad. All right. And they're going to cut Foskey. They're going to cut Heflin. They're going to cut Jeff Coate. He's nicked up. Kendall Vickers is a very interesting player. Okay. He's the guy. He's like the bubble guy. He's either practice squad or me. Kendall Vickers, he's a veteran, been in the league a long time. He's 29 years old, 6'3", 295 out of Tennessee. Actually, he's been in the league 3 years. He's a guy that played in all these other leagues, Dan. He played in the Canadian League. He played in the USFL. Right. Okay. And he's looked pretty good in preseason when he's had a chance to play. So I think they'll keep Vickers either as a reserve and a practice squad. Maybe they'll take the younger player like Christian Boyd and put him on the practice squad, or Lelos on the practice squad, and they'll maybe activate Vickers, but I'm not quite sure. But that pretty much handles the defensive line. Any questions, guys?
No, I think you got it. They're going to keep how many? 8?
They'll keep 8, and then they'll probably keep 1 or 2 on the practice squad because they can keep 10 on the practice squad.
Yeah.
So, all right. Now, Dan, the defensive backfield. What is your overall thinking of the DBs? DB stands for defensive back, not douchebag.
Yeah, I think it's looked pretty.
Thank you.
The crowd loved it.
Thank you.
I think it's looked pretty good.
Yeah.
The defensive backfield. We'll see when we get to the regular season, but there's a couple of guys that have looked really good. Where's that one guy?
Rico Payton or Abram? Abram, the safety?
No, well, he's a linebacker that I really like. That Orgy guy.
Orgy, Orgy looked good. I think Orgy's going to make the team.
He had a great game. That's a linebacker. Yeah. DB-wise, McKinstry, he was a shutdown corner in college. Marshawn Lattimore, I don't know. I mean, he's always hurt, it seems, half the time.
Well, right now, here are your starters, okay? Paulson Abadeo, okay? Jordan Howden at strong safety, free safety.
That guy missed a tackle the other day. I would have cut him.
I think I like Abram better.
He missed that tackle on Dobbs. You're right there. You're an NFL safety. It's you against the quarterback. Man, bring him down.
Well, who? Howden or Abram?
Howden.
Yeah, no. I like Abram.
He missed that freaking tackle on that lost the game. Not that it was a preseason game, but I mean, you got to make that tackle. That's just me.
Well, Jonathan Abram is a guy they got from the Chiefs.
Yeah.
Okay. He's got a Super Bowl ring. He's out of Mississippi State. He's drafted 27th overall in 2019 by Oakland. Mm-hmm. He was the number 27th overall pick in 2019. Yeah. I think he is going to start with Honey Badger. All right. I know they got him on the depth chart behind Howden right now, but Howden's going to make the team because he plays special teams. But I think Abram's going to get in there. I think he's going to sneak in there.
They'll start Howden just because they don't ever like to rock the boat. That's their safety. They'll start him. But you're right. Abram looks better, and they won't start him. And this other guy, Wright, looks really good, too. The corner, Wright from that guy looked really good.
But you know what? They got him at right side corner. This is how they have the depth chart. Lattimore at right cornerback. Then Kool-Aid. So right now they don't have Kool-Aid and Lattimore. They have Kool-Aid and Lattimore playing the same position. So Kool-Aid will play like a nickel.
That's his real name, Kool-Aid.
Yeah. And then they have Amandi, Hugo Amandi, and then Rajon White. He's fourth on the depth chart. I think he's a slam dunk for the practice squad. I do.
Yeah.
I think Rajon.
Which is too bad because he looks like one of the few guys who can tackle.
He looks like he can make a play. He makes plays. He's around the ball. He's around the ball all the time.
He's around the ball.
Yeah. He was interesting. And you know who also looked good at safety is JT Gray, who's been our all-pro special teams guy for years. He's been a great player for us. He's just never seen the field on defense. He's been strictly special teams. He looks good. He could get in there at safety. I think they're going to fart around with that strong safety. I mean, Honey Badger's at free safety. He's the guy, and they got Will Harris, who they got. Will Harris was with he's been in the league forever. Who was Will Harris with? The Lions.
Yeah.
Will Harris was with the Lions. Okay. And so that's free safety's good. They got JT Gray, Abram, and Howden. That's solid. I think that free safety position, the strong safety position, I think they're going to fight around with that this year. I think you're going to see a lot of JT Gray. You're going to see a lot of Abram. You're going to see some Howden. Okay.
So what's the difference? Free safety, strong safety. What's the difference?
Free safety pretty much plays the middle of the field most of the time, unless you have two safeties deep, a cover two with two deep safeties. Okay. But the free safety's got more room to kind of roam around and be a ball hawk. With a strong safety, usually just plays that strong side.
Okay, gotcha.
Plays that strong side.
And I know he's a fan favorite, Matthew, local guy. Is he from New Orleans, right? Played for LSU and all that.
Did he go to St. Aug? What did he go to?
St. Aug.
Yeah, he went to St. Aug.
St. Aug, LSU.
Do y'all think he's a little overrated?
Well,
yes. No. The answer to that is yes, but he is a little overrated. But he is also a playmaker and has a great nose for the football. He misses tackles constantly.
Yeah,
but
so where maybe like what you're saying, like his stats won't be real strong. I mean, I don't know how many interceptions he had, but you're saying he's a playmaker, so he's in the play.
He's around the ball. He'll knock down passes. He'll intercept a few, but he will disappoint you too. So that's a good observation.
He has 33 lifetime interceptions. That's a lot of interceptions.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah. Right. He's 32 years old. He's a little long in the tooth, but
he's a little long in the tooth, and he looked a little old the last couple of years. But his experience and his playmaking.
Well, here's the most impressive thing about him. Okay, since we got him in 2022, he played all 17 games. In 2023, he played all 17 games. Mm-hmm. He's played in every game since we've got him.
Yeah.
Oh, really? Oh, that's good.
Just 3 seasons.
2 seasons, 22, 23.
2 seasons.
Yeah. 21, he played at Kansas City. Now, last year, he had, in 17 games, he had 50 solo tackles, 25 assists.
Okay.
He had 1 touchdown. He had 4 interceptions. The guy had a good year last year.
Did he?
He had a pretty good year.
Freaking leave the guy alone. Leave the guy alone.
Okay. I'll leave him alone.
Okay, Vic. Hey, you've all said it a few times. Long in the tooth?
Long in the tooth.
What is that?
That means he's getting old.
That means he's old.
Okay, got you.
Let me tell you something.
That's good. I was like thinking about what is that?
Father Time is undefeated.
Yeah.
Okay? All right, we handled the defense. All we got left is special teams and some comments. We'll be right back after one more break with Dan Q, our sports director. We'll be right back.
Sports director, Dan Q.
Hang around.
Thank you.
Jamal Williams here. Just want to say happy International Cat Day. I want to say first thing what I love about cats. Another reason I like cats is they're very quiet. honestly, and they're very lovable when they love you, honestly. Oh, another thing, I love cats. No matter what bugs you have in your house, lizards, anything, they will kill them automatically. I just love them. They are like the exterminators of my house, and I don't need to get an exterminator at all. Love cats forever. Someone get you a cat. If you ever thought cats was mean, that's probably just because you're a bad person. Yeah. Cats love great people. Remember that. Love cats always.
504-603-6753. You know what that is?
Lit pizza?
No. 504-603-6753.
It's our listener line, 24 hours.
That's it. What's on your mind?
What's on your mind?
You got a question for Vic? You got a comment? You got something to say? A critique of the show?
Yes.
Hey.
Yes. And we'll put it in the show, and you'll be a big star, and people will love you.
504-603-6753.
God bless you. Call the line.
God bless you.
Okay, welcome back. All the Road to Podcast. Victor Del Toro, the King of All Podcasts, here with Ted Semper and Dan Q, AOTR Sports Director of 2024 Saints Football Preview. You know, I don't know if you know this or not, Ted, before we get into the final portion of the review here, which is special teams, which is, I think is going to be very interesting. Dan just had a new hip. Can you believe Dan got a new hip? Dan, tell us about the hip. How's the hip doing?
Yeah.
I got a new hip.
Yeah. How long ago?
I'm in rehab right now. That's why I'm not working. I'm rehabbing at home 6 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
But probably the best part about the new hip was Vic happened to be at Ochsner that day when I had my operation, and I room after recovery. And Vic comes charging into the room and says, "You got a new hip, dude. That is incredible."
Got a new hip, man.
That's the best part so far. Man, I can't believe it. Just like that. You got a new hip.
I'm telling you.
How long is your recovery going to be?
Just another couple of more weeks. I'm walking and doing fine and everything. They don't want me to drive a lot, which is why I'm not over there in person today. It's coming along fine.
Is the right side or right or left?
Left hip.
Yeah. Okay.
Left hip, baby.
Left hip, baby.
Well, no, actually, when I got to Ochsner, he had just had the operation. I knocked on the door, and there were some people there, and I went, proctologist. Proctologist.
I don't remember that.
Well, Dan, I know that normally when we have you on the podcast, you have a poem. Dan's an unbelievable poem writer. He writes great poems.
Yeah, he's had many on the show.
Unbelievable poems.
Yeah.
And so we're going to talk about the special teams. But since you don't have a poem for me, I wrote a special poem about your new hip. Okay.
Oh my God.
And we are going to debut that poem on All Over the Road after we cover the special team situation here. So that's how we're going to end the show, Dan. All right. Special teams. Here we go. New Orleans Saints.
Special teams.
Hit the music.
Yes.
Hit the music. Okay.
Nice special teams music there.
All right. Special teams. All right. So now here we go. That place kicker. This is pretty interesting because we have Blake Groupie, who was our kicker last year. And they got this guy, Charlie Smythe. Is it Smith or Smythe, Dan?
Smith.
It's S-M-Y-T-H.
Smith. That's pronounced Smith.
Okay. He's Charlie Smith. Interesting about Charlie Smith. Charlie Smith is from Newry, Ireland.
He looks like a kid.
Yes.
Like about a 15-year-old.
He's 23 years old. He's 23
years
old.
He is a kid.
He's a place kicker, and he's looked good in preseason. Do you think there's any competition there, Dan, between those two?
Yes, I do. I'm looking here. For one thing, Groupie, he's 5'7", 156 pounds. Now, I'm not saying a kicker has to be big, but you need to be able to get your foot into the damn ball. I mean, I watched that guy Aubrey kick a 66-yarder for Dallas the other day.
Yeah. And
certainly Groupie is not going to even be close to that number. I think it's time for a switch myself, but we'll see. They're playing both of them. I think this third game is going to be important for Group A. I really do.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you. I guess what my main beef about Groupie is if at the end of the game, if you need a real long kick, a kick, he doesn't have the leg.
That's just what I was saying.
Yeah.
You need a guy with leg.
Yeah.
This is not the 1970s.
No.
Every one of these guys
right.
kicks 50-yarders in their sleep.
The hell with accuracy. I mean, you got to have a guy at the end of the game that can hit a 65-yarder if you need one. In or outdoors.
Correct.
In or outdoors.
What's Group A's longest?
Group A's got maybe a 55-yard leg. That's it. Yeah. And with this guy Smith can kick it out of the stadium.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. So I think there's competition there. I think there's more competition than we think. I think the Saints special teams needs to realize that if they need to make a long kick, we need someone that they can. Hey, I don't care if he misses 5 48-yarders during the regular season if he can hit one big 65-yard kick to win a game. Mm-hmm. That's just my opinion. I mean, I don't know.
Well, none of these guys miss 48-yarders anymore. You can't have a guy missing 35-yarders like Rupi did last year. You just can't.
Well, they had guys in the last week in preseason that were missing 40 to 50-yard field goals. They had them.
And they probably won't make the team.
Well, some of them will. I'm just saying it can happen. It can happen.
By the way, for reference, we're on the ESPN.
Yeah, we're on the ESPN depth chart.
NFL section depth chart.
Can I apologize for the language? I apologize for the language. I really do. Okay. Now, punter. I think there's competition here too, Dan.
Absolutely.
Headley, I couldn't stand him last year.
Why not? Why?
We should have my daughter on this podcast.
Because he sucks. He
hates Headley.
He's got no hang time. He says a 42-yard kick every time, and the 3-second hang day sucks. Mm-hmm. Now this guy, they got Matthew Hayball, okay,
right,
out of Vandy. And he's a kind of a big guy for a kicker, 6 feet, 189 pounds. That's big for a kicker. Mm-hmm. He is a rookie. We brought him into camp. And his average has been in preseason. He has 2 punts, 48-yard average, 48-yard net. Now, what that means is these balls are being fair catched. If I can get a guy that can kick the ball 48 yards and fair catch it every time, I'm taking it.
That's the guy you want.
Absolutely,
I'm taking it.
I think they ought to go rookie. That's my feeling.
I do too. And you know what? I think they will.
All right. Well,
so that would mean Group B and Headley would be gone.
Yeah,
is what you're saying.
Right.
Yeah. Go with the rookies. Yeah.
All right. Well,
neither of them. They both sucked last year.
They did.
That was it for special teams.
Special teams. The only thing left is punt returner, which is Shaheed. Kick returner, which is Shaheed. Yeah. The other guy they have on there that will probably do some is Cedric Wilson. They have Mason Tipton on here. He's going to get cut. But Rashid and Cedric Wilson will probably be, and Mims maybe will be turning all the kicks. And of course, our long snapper is the great Zach Wood.
So I didn't understand. It's like center and long snappers, 2 different positions.
Well, yeah, the center snaps
on offensive plays.
He does punts.
Just this guy does. Wood would only do punts.
Zach Wood is a friend of mine.
Would he do field goals too?
No. Zach Woods is he does do. Yeah, he does do field goals.
Okay.
Zach Woods Wood is a friend of mine. Zach Wood went to SMU. He was originally drafted by the Cowboys as a defensive lineman, and this is I'm not going to tell you where I heard this story, but it's true. Mm-hmm. When he got to the Cowboys, Dan, what's his name? DeMarco Lawrence, is that the guy's name for the Cowboys?
Yeah.
Okay, he's like the leader of the defensive line out of all the guys, and they have a creed there where they won't let any white guys on the defensive line.
Really?
Yeah. They want all brothers, which is that's the thing. That's cool. All right. So Zach was always getting nudged out. When Zach came out at SMU, he was like, 6'4", 320 pounds. Okay. Mm-hmm. That's when he came out and he was a defensive lineman, but he can also long snap. Now he's 6'3", 255. He long snaps, and he's a great long snapper. He's got a lovely girlfriend named Gabby. I've met them both, spent time with both of them. He's a great guy. He's a great long snapper. Let me tell you something. When you're a long snapper, what you have is called job security.
Yeah. How long has he been on the Saints?
Job security.
He's in his 8th season, but how long with the Saints?
Well,
his whole career?
Oh, yeah, his whole career. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So there you go. There's our preview.
Zach Wood, it's like 8th season. I don't know if I've ever heard his name.
Well, he's a long snapper. You don't hear.
I know,
but the bad thing about Zach is
that's probably a good thing because you hear his name when he screws up.
Well, but he tackles
in that position more than others.
Watch how many times this year when he snaps for a punt that he gets down there and makes a tackle. He does a lot.
Yeah,
because he's a defensive player by trade. So that's kind of cool to have.
Yeah.
Okay, this is normally in the part of the segment of the show at the end of the show, Dan.
I want to hear your predictions. You're going to do that?
Yeah, we got to do our predictions.
We can do it after the poem or before, or whatever.
We'll do it after the poem.
Okay.
What do you think, Dan? After the poem?
You got a poem? I got a short one if you want.
Okay. Well, why don't you give us your short one first, and then I'll give you the poem I wrote about your hip.
Wait, what did I do with all this? I don't know where it is now.
You want to
hold on, I'll find it.
You want Vic to do his first?
Yeah, go ahead and have Vic do his.
Okay.
Are you sure? Okay, I'll do mine.
All right.
Here we go. You ready?
I'll pull it up on my computer.
As we mentioned, Dan just had a hip replacement. He's in recovery. He's doing great. It's his left hip, and Vic has a special poem.
And this is normally the part of the program where I tell a story, and I play my story song, which is the Pink Panther.
Yeah.
All right, this is the poem that I wrote about Dan's new hip. This hip is big. This hip needs space to move in. This hip needs space to move around in. They don't fit into little petty places. This hip is a free hip. It doesn't like to be held back, Dan's hip. Dan's hips have never been enslaved, nor will his new one. Dan's hip goes everywhere he wants to go. Dan's hip does everything it wants to do. Dan's hips are mighty. Dan's hips are magic hips, especially the new one. And I've known his other hip for a long time. Dan's hip does not lie. And if I'm lying, I'm dying. And grits ain't groceries. Eggs ain't poultry.
Yeah.
And Mona Lisa's a man. Yeah. There it is.
That's very good.
It's very touching. I like it. It started off a little slow, but it built it. It got better. It got better and better.
I'm glad you have such a good feeling about my hip.
That's my first poem about a hip. My long, illustrious history of poems.
What you got, Dan? You found it? You found your poem?
Found one, yeah. I found one. It's one of the first New Orleans poems I ever wrote. It's very short.
Okay. What's the title?
It's called Lunch in the Quarter.
Ladies and gentlemen, here is Lunch in the Quarter from Dan Q, All Over the Road Sports Director. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the Zen.
Going to lunch with Aunt Loretta. Down in the quarters to Central we went. Of course, we split a muffaletta. Paid at the counter.
Wait a minute. You changed Loretta's name to rhyme with the muffaletta. You called the muffaletta. Come on.
Muffaletta.
Well, there's a reason for that, but I can't really. Okay. There's a reason, because that's how the whole thing got started. Where my daughter said, I'm going to lunch with Loretta, and I said, oh, you're going to have muffaletta? She said, no, Loretta. And so that's.
There you go.
So I'm going to start over because you interrupted a very important.
Yeah, I will never do that again.
Rude,
I'm sorry.
Nobody interrupted you.
You know what? I'm so sorry.
Let him start over.
I'm so sorry.
Thanks, Dad. But you're right though. I mean, it's muffaletta, but I'm calling it muffaletta because it'll rhyme.
Please start over, please, and forgive me. Go ahead.
Going to lunch with Aunt Loretta. Down in the quarters to Central we went. Of course, we split a muffaletta. Paid at the counter, gobbled it down, and now we are content. Olive oil dripped from my chin as we get out on jam-packed Decatur. The mortadella so nice and thin. What a great idea. This was best sooner than later. There you go.
There you go.
There it is.
There it is. I love it. Has
nice.
nothing to do with football, but
it's a nice juicy muffaletta.
Yeah, muffaletta. Muffaletta with Rosetta.
Muffaletta.
Laura, what was her name? Loretta.
Get
with
back,
the muffaletta.
Loretta.
Love it.
Get back, Loretta. Well,
Love
Dan,
it.
thanks again.
Okay, we got to make some predictions before we go here.
Can I go first? Because I'll be short and sweet. How many games? 18?
Okay, it's 17 games.
17 games. I say, by listening to you guys, got some lot of good commentary. A lot of valuable information. When I do watch games this year, I'll think about these things that you said, Vic, and Sports Director Dan Q. I think the Saints will win 10.
Okay, all right,
10.
All right.
10 so it'll be 10-7, and you said 10 might win the division.
Well, 10 will win the division.
10 will win the division.
10 will win the division.
Really?
Easy.
There you go. 10. 10 wins for the Saints.
Okay, so Ted Semper, my co-host, my brother in broadcasting, the man I love, he says Saints 10 wins, 7 losses.
Yep.
Okay.
10-7.
Okay. Dan, what is your prediction?
What say you?
All right, well, I'm just going to preface it by saying last year they had the easiest schedule possibly in the history of football. I thought I was going to see De La Salle on it at Riverdale at one point.
The Commodores.
And they were only 9-8, and they should have, with that schedule, was ridiculous. But this year the schedule is a little harder. They're going to have to face some good quarterbacks like Jalen Hurts and Mahomes and there's I don't have the schedule pulled up, but that's just and Prescott, Dak Prescott. I'm going with 8-9.
8-9.
8-9. And that won't win the division.
Well, it could.
Well, it
could, but I don't think it will.
Yeah.
Okay. So the first game, I think the same. What do we open with? The Cowboys? Is that what we open with?
No, we open with the Panthers. Second game is the Cowboys.
Okay. So we got Panthers. Here's the schedule. You got Panthers, Cowboys, Eagles, Falcons, Chiefs. This looks pretty daunting. The Buccaneers, the Broncos with Sean Payton and his new quarterback. I hate to see that game. That's going to be a night game. It's I think it's a Thursday night.
That's here on a Thursday night.
Yeah, Thursday night game on Prime. Then you got the Chargers, the Panthers again, the Falcons again.
That's Herbert. That's another guy. That's another quarterback.
Yep. Oh, yeah. And you got the Browns.
Justin Herbert. I like him.
You got the Browns, too. That guy's going to have a good year this year.
Deshaun Watson.
Yep.
I mean, unlike last year, they're going to face some quarterbacks this year.
No, I know. Well, look, you keep going. The Rams.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
That's a good quarterback. The Packers. That's a good quarterback. They got to play Jalen Daniels.
Right.
And the Redskins. They'll always be the Redskins to me. Shoot. Yeah. Look at that. Really, you hit it right on the head with quarterback, Stan. Hit it right on the head. I mean, and that's why. All right. So you're saying 8-9. You think 8-9 will win the division?
No, but I'm saying 8-9.
Okay. Dan says 8-9.
I don't think it will.
Okay. 8-9 was not, according to Dan, does not win the division. I think 8-9 does win the division.
Well, it could because you're really in the worst division in football. But Tampa could possibly win 9 games.
Well, but Tampa's playing all the teams in our division. We play a similar schedule. Tampa's got a tougher schedule than ours. Tampa's is tougher than ours. Yeah. So, and you know what? I just think that last year, I don't know. I'd be surprised that Baker has the kind of year this year they had last year. Although he's got great receivers.
I kind of agree with that. Yeah, I was thinking that myself. I kind of agree.
Yeah, I mean, he did it at the right time. He got paid, and that's it. He's paid, and he's fat and happy. I don't know. I mean, I think 8-9 will win the division. I hate.
Well, if you want to say 8-9, I mean, you can agree with me, or you can go 9-8, or you can be with Ted 10-7.
I just have a little bad feeling inside when it comes to the offensive line, okay, and
scoring points this year.
And scoring points, okay, and the other point. Although I do like Kubiak a lot, I think that's going to help tremendously.
And you don't have a lot of faith in the field goal kicker.
Well, but that's going to be what it is. I mean,
Well, it is what it is. But it could determine outcomes.
It can, but you can't depend on. You got to score touchdowns. Yeah. Let's face it. Field goals are there because you can't. It's the default.
Yeah,
it's the football default is the field goal. I just got to bet. I mean, the offensive line, and you're one injury away from having a real bad offensive line. I hate to do it, but I'm going to go 7-10.
Yeah.
Gee, 7.
7-10. Yeah.
What was last year's record?
With that schedule, it could very well be 7-10. It could go south on them real fast.
Now, here's the thing, though. Here's the thing that could make it better. If the Saints defense is as good as I think it can be, which I think they're definitely a top 10 defense, no matter what. Definitely. All right, they're going to be top 10. But if they can somehow be like top 5 defense,
yeah,
I think if the defense and they can stay healthy and they can really have a top 5 defense that puts pressure on the quarterback and can stop the run, if they can do that, then I would tend to say 9-8, and they win the division. But there's just too many question marks and too many holes in the roster at offensive line.
You don't have to listen to you guys in this show here. How do you compare this year's team to last year's team? There's a lot of the same players, a different offensive coach, so it could be a big deal. There is a lot of differences. compared to last year's team, how much is it better or worse than last year's?
Go ahead,
team?
Dan.
Overall.
Well, I mean, I don't really see a whole lot of improvement. I like the Chase Young and Willie Gay pickup.
I didn't even see Willie. We're looking at that depth chart. Willie Gay wasn't even on it.
He wasn't?
No, that must have been a misprint or something.
No, I don't. No, I'm looking here. I don't see Willie Gay. Oh, unless there he is on the linebackers. Yeah.
Okay, well, I must have missed him. Willie Gay's on the team.
Yeah.
Willie Gay's still young. He's 26 years old.
I know he's very young. He played on the Super Bowl team. I mean, I don't know what happened.
Yeah.
So really, you don't think this year's team will be better than last year?
I think
Well, it looks like it. It looks like it. But then things happen.
The offensive line scares me.
Yeah.
The offensive line scares me.
I think a lot of people feel that way.
Yeah.
So, and they're going to have a running game, and they don't seem to have much of a running game. You can't get away with having no running.
Well, but if they put Taysom back there and let him run, they may have a running game. I mean, there's never.
Maybe.
You give him 15 carries back there, you never know what will happen. But, I'll tell you what. I'm going to amend mine. I'm going to go 8-9, and it may or may not win the division. I'm going to go with Dan, 8-9 with Dan, and you're 9-8, right? Or you're 10-7.
I said 10.
10-7.
Thank you very much. What do I know? Who knows, right? All right, well, that's the music there, Dan. You hear the music? Dan, you hear the music?
Oh, yeah.
That's how we end the show. We got a little music. I want to thank Dan Q for coming on. It's always great to have you, Dan.
Thank you so much for having me.
I would, if it were up to me, I'd have you on every week. If it were up to me.
Yeah, that's okay. But I think this really helped my hip today. It's helped. The healing process has really been speeded up.
Godspeed with the hip, my man. Okay, and let me know if you need a ride somewhere. Okay, let me know.
Okay, doke.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you. That's Dan Q, Sports Director Dan Q.
See you, Ted.
And this has been our 2024 Saints football preview.
Go Saints! Go Saints!
I want to thank everybody over there in Dutchtown for last week's podcast, the interviewees. Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
We haven't posted that show yet, but we've got it in our back pocket.
It'll be posted by the time
it will
they hear
be
this.
posted one day.
By the time they hear this,
well, you remember what you told me about that show. Hold off on it. So we haven't yet. But this is like off the record stuff, but it's on the record. So I'm just saying we haven't used that content yet.
Right,
we did walk around the streets of Dutchtown and talk to some nice, really friendly people.
We did. All right,
who were thinking about the Saints, LSU, and the election.
All right, you're going to tell me what the problem was with that, huh? Okay.
There's no problem.
Oh, no problem.
There's no problem.
All right, see you next time. God bless.
Because sharing is caring.
Yeah.
You can't forget that.
You have to share the show.
We share the show.
You have to share the show.
Everybody should share the show.
Please share.
Because.
Hey, wait. I'm saying please. I'm saying please share the show.
Please share the show.
Because sharing is caring. See y'all later.
Coming to Coin Trader Studios, we're bringing it live. And who am I? I go by the name of Darkest Night. And Jada Hoyos is the one who brings a sick beat to which we're getting pumped for topics this week. So let me grab my grape soda and take a sip while I turn it over to Katie, Nick, Ted, and Vic. It's all over. We're all over the road. We got a brand new show, so just lo and behold, from the bayou to the city to the burbs to the swamps, you better know what time it is when you're hearing that.
Okay, so what I just heard? Blah, 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 blah.
What do you think Drew Brees' legacy is?
Well, I think he's going to go down as one of the all-time greats. Anytime you pass for 80,000 yards, you lead the NFL. Anybody that knows Drew Brees knows that he's been class personified. He's just a class individual. He's a champion. He's an all-time great as a passer. There's no doubt about that.
Drew Brees is Hall of Famer. When I think Drew Brees, I will think accuracy. He's the most accurate quarterback I've ever seen.
His ball placement's the greatest ever. We're talking about a guy, there's 11 times in the history of the NFL has a quarterback thrown for 5,000 yards in a single season. Drew Brees has done it 5 times. He's got the greatest completion percentage in the history of the NFL.
He can make any throw.
What a play! What a throw! Drew Brees puts it right over the shoulder of the defender.
He's always moving the ball. It doesn't matter what defense he's going against.
Surgical precision. Dropped in beautifully by Drew Brees.
Drew Brees is an all-around quarterback.
Whoever it is that needs to get the ball, he finds a way to be able to get it done.
Drew Brees has been amazing.
All of the Road New Orleans is brought to you by CoinTrader Inc.,
For real-time prices on gold, silver, palladium, and platinum 24/7, go to goldpricesnow.com. That's goldpricesnow.com.